Hello guys, welcome back to Frankbrox Art. My name is Brian Broxton, and I draw a little bit of caricatures, a little bit of, stylized characters or whatever. I do a little bit of both. So here, you're here, or see, my sped up illustrations and of trending things, people in the news or in YouTube or whatever, or just you're running the mill, flashing back to old 80s artwork or whatever. You see the whole gambit here. This is Frankbrox Art, so you get a variety. So today I want to change it up. Hey, I know you guys are like, man, what's up with the Froggy Show? I want to see some more, panels or whatever. Well, I did do one panel today. I'll, do a little sped up version so you can see how it turned out. I'm still working on it. Let's see, it's going to be busy this week. I got a couple little things in the fire. Plus, on Wednesday, I got the special guest, Jeff Burns. So in this video, I wanted to give you the origin story of Frankbrox Art. The way I started it, if that's even a word, started out as an artist. So I cleaned up my little work area, pushed all my monitors back. Now I'm going to reveal my little work desk. And here it is. I'm going to brighten up the lights a little bit. Let's see. Brighten up a little light over here. All right, so that is nice and clear. And then, being that I am African American, I have to put a little moisturizer on my hands, because I've noticed that my hands have been a little crusty looking, a little dry. So now they're nice and moisturized so that I don't freak out the audience. So in the beginning, I've always known how to draw ever since, I was a little kid. And, the one that took me kind of like to the next level was my older sister, who is Deneen Broxton. And something that inspired me, that what she did was she did like this kind of like a poster of Rick James. And I wish I could show you this poster of Rick James. Maybe I can pull it up, but I don't want to take too much time pulling up, old posters of Rick James or whatever, just to find it. But maybe I'll find it, later on or whatever, and show it to you. But she drew this hand-drawn, full Rick James with the guitar, braids, everything. And man, when I saw her do that in pencil on a piece of maybe, I think it was probably 11 by 17 paper, man, that it blew my mind, and I was like, oh man, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be an artist. So she taught me some things about shading and drawing throughout my fledgling years. And and I just kind of took that and worked on it some more and more until I got better at it. And but I also love superheroes, Marvel, DC characters. I used to go to the Piggly Wiggly and pick up Piggly Wiggly, for those who are in different countries or whatever. Piggly Wiggly is like a grocery store. There's a few in Georgia still, but not many. The Kroger's and the Publix and the Walmarts kind of knocked them out, where it's kind of they're off to the side there. They're Walmart and Kroger, they're these big monstrous chains. Piggly Wiggly kind of is, but basically I went there as a little kid to get comic books. You used to have the rack right by the register, which is so wrong, it's like, how can a kid resist, so, my mom used to get tired of me, and I always get these comic books all the time, and used to draw all the characters and stuff like that. So, one moment as I get something here. So, this, I'm going to move all this to the side here, my mouse pad and my little keyboard here. Move that off to the side there. All right. Now, I don't know if you can see this well, but my mom saw that I was, getting serious about art. So she took one of these drawings that I did back when I was mid 80s, maybe coming up to 90s or whatever, and she laminated it. And that was really cool because something like this would not have survived for this period of time if it was not laminated. This would have been it would have been in the garbage somewhere, but I held on to it. She laminated it, and it's still, is protected to this day. I kept it, and I don't know, I'll hold it up a little bit. There's a bit of a glare on it, but I wasn't too shabby. I wasn't too shabby back at that time. Proportions were all jacked up, it wasn't all that, proportionate, but hey, you could tell, like, hey, this kid got skills. My dad, he gave me like this clock, and I had to, he wanted me to draw something on it, so I was like, well, I'll draw Mickey Mouse. I wish I could show you that one, but it turned out great. I probably could have went into the Mickey Mouse clock making or drawing Mickey Mouse clocks or something like that business or whatever, but hey, lo and behold, I didn't go into that business. So from here, I was like, well, as time went on, I was like, well, let me build up on this character that I like so much, and it's called Stoneheart. I don't know why. I think it's because I was watching like He-Man and Thundercats and Silverhawks and all that stuff. I don't know, I guess that's why, I was into these swords and big muscular men. So from here, I worked on it a little bit more. And I don't know if you see this, but it's a little bit more proportionate. I can't believe I still have this. You can still see some coffee stains, water stains, food stains, all kind of stains on this. And I had some more, but I don't know what happened to it. But it's lost through time. So you can probably see that, so it's getting a little bit better. Proportions, the body and, muscles and whatnot. So, I got better and better, I guess my problem area was drawing girls. So, girls, they looked okay, but they were a tad bit on the muscular side. So, these are some of the older, works that, I've worked on. This was probably still like around that fledgling time, the 80s, drawing all these little characters or whatnot. I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but yeah, characters, they looked like ladies, but there was, they were, you could easily mistake them, for being men almost, so, I was trying my hand at drawing some, storyboard or panels or whatever, my early fledgling years, I tend to make this little caricature. That was actually a caricature of myself, I did it so because I didn't have any type of, what would you say, I didn't have a like a stamp. You know, people like to sign their name and have like a little logo. I didn't have like a logo for myself, so I always kind of drew that character. You know, I kept drawing on them. You know, and at this time, you know, I was working. This was probably like mid 90s, right before, you know, I went to college or whatever. So, you know, I like drawing myself with the big face, and maybe I drew that because, you know, at the time, maybe I had a big mouth or whatever, you know. So, you know, I still tried my hand at girls, you know. It was still on the muscular side. I think this was at the point where, there might be a little bit of nudity on this one here. I'll show you the bottom. Show you the bottom of that, maybe the top part of that there, you know. So, you know, Street Fighter was pretty popular back at that time, you know, so I'll do that. Whoops. Sorry about that. I'll just put a little finger over that. You can kind of see that, you know. But I think this was probably around about the time I was getting into, you know. Now, when it comes to this, you know, I could mimic like something that I saw, you know, like because I think I drew this from out of a magazine or something like that. And this was probably around the time I was like working and, you know, back mid 90s, you know, pretty much. So I could mimic, you know, the female figure, but drawing it as a cartoon or character or whatever, wasn't all that great, you know. And this was also back before college, you know. I was kind of just sketching, you know. Janet Jackson was kind of big at that time, you know. So I was kind of drawing, you know, doing like a little drawing of that, you know, and so on and so on and so on, you know. You see a whole bunch of, you know, all this stuff here. But like I said, my problem was still, you know, drawing girls, because they always tend to look kind of weird, muscular or whatever. But this like, I'm kind of getting into my groove with the girls. But I had a friend named Eben Matthews, and he was the one that kind of like helped me, you know, get a little better at drawing the female body, because it was always kind of a little awkward, little super, you know, they look like strong guys with boobs pretty much, you know. But these, you know, these are a little bit better, you know, because let me show you what this guy did. I'm gonna just flip through this real quick. There's some nude stuff in here, you know. Just quickly kind of go through a little bit of what I did here. You know, I can't show you all this stuff. It's got some nude stuff in here, so, you know, a little bit of everything, a little bit. You can kind of see. Sorry about that. Nude. Hopefully I don't get caught on YouTube. But anyway, but yeah, you know, I did a whole bunch of little characters and stuff like that. You know, trying to do like comic book type stuff. You know, I don't know if you guys can see that, little comic book type stuff. You know. But this is Bryant, you know, back in mid 90s, you know, trying to step his game up a little bit. But let me show you what my friend Eben Matthews did. And he's in California now. He's doing his thing, and, you know, he's a very awesome artist. You know. And I owe him, you know, for teaching me how to draw girls a little bit better. So he kind of broke it down, you know, and I followed that guide that he gave me. I still have it to this day, but look at this guy. Back in what had to be mid 90s, no, it was back mid 90s, you know, back when we was like in high school, maybe a little bit after high school. Man, look at this guy. This guy making a book. Look at these characters. Now, his style it's a little bit of the same, but he has enhanced it a whole lot better than this, you know. And this, me looking at this guy, freaking amazing. And I have some more printouts of his stuff. This guy, he this guy was like beyond. He had his own printer at the time. I was like, printer in his house? This guy, he had all the tools. I think he had like a printer at his house. He would print this stuff. Maybe, I don't know, I may be embellishing a little bit, but it was back in the 90s. You know, nobody had printers or whatever. But anyway, he like, or rather, he'll probably go and get it printed out, you know. But man, look at this guy. This guy, he was already, I was surprised he wasn't working for Marvel or, you know, but I think he did get a scholarship or something like that and went to an art school and whatever. But man, already this guy was like on point. He was inking. Me, I was still doing pencil drawings. I did a little bit of inking here and there, but this guy, freaking amazing. Look at all like the poses and all. Man, I was jealous. I was indeed jealous. This guy was killing it. So, Evan Matthews, I have to give you a thumbs up. Thank you for helping me. So from then, I went on to college. And I went to Savannah College of Art and Design. Awesome school. The only thing is that I had to work as well as go to school. And that was hard. And I didn't really get to enjoy college that much. You know, so because I was like busy working, paying, whatever. All my money pretty much just went back into school, you know, pretty much. So I would eat and pay school, eat, do my homework, pay school, go to work, rinse and repeat. So back in school, now I've already had tremendous talent. You know, and I'm not afraid to say, you know, but, you know, I was drawing, you know, basically like we had like a life drawing class. And in our life drawing class, you know, that was probably one of my favorite classes that gave me the opportunity to kind of flex more of my muscles when it comes to, because I always drew portraits. I drew portraits to kind of like help pay for when all my money went to college. I did portraits to kind of give me a little extra money just for buying clothes or buying some food or buying, you know, something to eat or whatever. So, you know, I wish I could do some of this, you know, for a living, but, you know, this of course takes a lot of time, but of course I would probably have to charge more, you know, into maybe the 500s and the thousands to get like, if you want some real life kind of, you know, stuff like this, you know, it would take time, you know, especially doing like paintings and so forth and so on, you know. This is some more of the work here. And sorry, this is probably going to be a long video. My apologies, but you know, not too shabby, right? Life drawing, you know. Of course, it's a little skewed because, you know, because of the angle and, you know, you can't see this flat out or whatever. I could probably turn it this way, you know, then you can kind of see it a little bit, you know, in its longevity or whatever, you know, or in its actual look, but not too shabby. I was great at doing that. So, but what got me into college, I was kind of like all over the place. What I mean by all over the place, you know, I was doing, you know, stuff like this, you know, and of course, you know, I loved like the Marvel stuff. So, you know, I have like my little Wolverine here. And then, you know, a little Spider-Man, because I just want to show him like, hey, I was talented. I can draw, you know. I just needed a little bit of guidance, you know, here and there, you know. So once in college, you know, of course, you saw the drawings that I did, the life drawings, and then, you know, of course, you know, reproducing art, you know, that's already been created, you know, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle type stuff, you know. It's up to the side, you know, creating stuff like this. I don't know if you can see this, got like a little glare on it, but you know, hey, not too shabby, right? For someone just kind of like pick up a pen and just start, you know, drawing just from viewing a comic book or whatever. So, you know, pretty good. I wish my style was as cool as that, but you know, unfortunately I have my own particular style. So, you know. And then also in school we did the reproducing of, you know, great works or whatever. So, you know, I did this one here as a painting, and also I did that as watercolor. So, you know, I was kind of multi-talented. I did a little bit of everything. 9 out of 10, you may hear a little child come in here and interrupt dad as he's talking, but, you know, just, you know, give him a minute, he'll go back downstairs. But anyway, you know, so I did a little bit of everything. But maybe he won't interrupt us. We'll see. All right, so, and of course, we did our share of, you know, comic book panels in a sense. So this is one, you know, that I worked on. It was kind of like based off of Big Trouble in Little China. You know, it's like that action scene where there was all the girls was locked up, and I guess Wang and the other dude had to go and, you know, kind of get the girls or get the reporter and the other chick out of the cage or whatever. So, you know, fledgling, you know, storyboard or comic book artist or whatever. So, you know, then I also have, you know, some more comic book kind of panels. Sorry for the gritty, terrible kind of like look of them. You know, they're kind of dirty. They're like 20 something, maybe 15, 20 something years old, maybe, maybe more. So some more artwork here and there. Sorry about the glare. You know, I'll just go through these real quick. I don't want to make this a super long video. You know, just try to give you guys just a little bit of origin story of, like, you know, how I kind of developed as an artist. You know, I always had talent, but, you know, so around about that time, you know, I graduated. I didn't know really what to go into, you know, because, you know, they had recruiters come, you know, from, you know, at that time what was popular was like The Simpsons, and, you know, there was some other, you know, like Marvel, DC, you know, where you can kind of send your work and, you know, stuff like that. You have people kind of help you get, you know, to where you want to go, you know. And I don't know, for me it just wasn't just copying another person's work really wasn't my thing, as like a job doing every day, you know. I was still kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. I wanted to do comics, but, you know, that's where we get to when I arrived in Atlanta. Now, when I arrived in Atlanta, you know, I was big city. I was, what to do? You know, I was getting all my portfolio together. I was like, oh man, I'm getting me a comic book, you know, job or whatever, drawing, you know, store, you know, panels and comic book pages and stuff like that. But, and not all, I don't want to cast a bad shadow or anything like that on comic book artists or whatever, or, well, not comic book artists, but how they work or where they work or whatever. It's more so like when I did investigate, I was like, well, you know, when it comes to comic book drawing comics, you know, you got to be fast and you got to be good. And I was, and you know, if I'm in the mood, I'm fast. But if I'm not in the mood and I'm drawing stickmans all the way, you know, and that's kind of weird, you know, with my creativity. Sometimes I got it. Sometimes it's like, it takes a little bit to kind of get going, you know, I need a little boost or whatever. So, so basically, when I went to the studio, it was basically a room that was rented out for a bunch of comic book artists to kind of go and, you know, draw all the artwork and the panels and so forth. So I saw that and I was like, I mean, it was kind of cool, but, you know, of course, it was kind of like there's a bunch of them in there. There was knocking the pages out and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I don't know if that's really for me, because I was kind of used to like a regular paycheck or whatever. So, you know, from there, I went into a different direction, and I went into graphic design. So graphic design, gave me another tool because, I've learned that in college as well. And, I just took that and just ran with it and just developed my skill. And, I ended up working for this one company where it was like this great guy, Doug Barley. Man, I was like, working in Quark Express and, trying to figure out all the programs and stuff like that, that I haven't used since college. So I just got back on board, learning, doing stuff. So I created a portfolio, and, this guy, Doug Barley, he taught me like Quark Express, how to use it, went through the training and all that stuff. That's back then at the time, 99, where they still train people, but they don't train you now. You got to come fully, ready to go, get in there and start doing it. So back at this time, they still kind of trained you. So that was great for me. So I was trained, I went in there, I went into production, and all the time I was still drawing. So back at that time, I still had like my little sketchbook, and, I was just kind of reminiscing on things that were, give me 1 second, when you have kids, sometimes they interrupt you or whatever. 1 second. Hey, can you go downstairs? I'm recording. Yeah, tell your mom. Thank you. Take all right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Please, thank you. All right. Sorry about that. So, he likes attention. That's why he got me doing his little comic book thing, his little storybook. So anyways, so working at the company, then Doug Barley teach me everything I need to know, then taking that to the next level. And then, all the while still kind of reminiscing back on, what I used to do, like just sketching, so I had like a little sketchbook, and I just sketch, a little bit of my past or whatever, people I interacted with, just things that I saw, old movies, anime, some days when I couldn't draw, this is what I drew. I just kind of like, scratch, everywhere. But, there were times when, I did kind of like was in that mood, and I did, pull out some really cool, I'm just kind of flipping through very quickly, some nice illustrations here and there, little things popped out, ideas, so yeah. So, there's some things that I liked, things I didn't like, but, I continued drawing for the past 10, whatever, a little nudity, sorry, past some odd years. So, kept on drawing, did a little writing here and there, did a little drawing, writing. I did a little bit of everything, so, yeah. Some of these you might see, some of these are some of my good friends. This person here, Holly Williford, she was a very cool artist. All these numbers, you might see some numbers in there. Those are old since like mid 90s or whatever, so they won't work if you like try to call them. But anyway, all right. So another book. I filled up a whole bunch of books, and I was getting better and better. I was meeting different people, and I met a really cool artist, by the name of Carnus Jackson, and also another artist by the name of Robert Roebuck. And this actual design right here, I don't know if you can see it. When I was working in production, there was a young lady, I forgot her name, but anyway, she kind of inspired me to kind of draw that because she was kind of short, and she had like a hair kind of crop. I think she was Hispanic, maybe. Or maybe a mixture, or I don't know. But anyway, she kind of inspired me to do that one. I really like this one. I don't know, maybe I'll probably might go back and do another, one, but just kind of more advanced. But anyway, as you can see, I drew and drew, I drew, kind of getting better and better, trying to, identify a certain kind of style. I know I can, sketch people realistically, but, how do I do when it comes to like characters and stuff? So, and just looking at all these pages that I have drawn over the past, I do have a distinct kind of style, is that I later improved on, through time, because everything is very thin, and then I start messing around with doing thicker line work, kind of like this was kind of like the beginning stages, like, well, what if everything was thick? So I didn't like that. So I was like, later on, I tend to start doing like an in-between style, like thick and thin lines, which, turned out a little better, because at this time I was still kind of, messing around with the pen, And this is kind of like something that you probably see on some of my material where, this character or this little story that I came up with. I don't know why I came up with this, but it was something that kind of stuck with me. It was probably some of my favorite panels, that I've done, but I never finished the story. But anyway, so, and some more sketching, Lauryn Hill, back when her album came out, I forgot which one, but, I could sketch real well, so, still working on characters, at the time I was coming up with like these little mini characters, that was kind of like the start mid 2000s, coming up with these little mini characters, and kept drawing, then I got to a bigger book, and this is towards the end of my 10 years. Sorry about that. Got a little bit of nudity in there, but can't show you all that one. Sorry. So, whoops, a little bit of nudity. Yeah, for some reason I was drawing a lot of nude girls at the time, but yeah, there's some blue pencil in there. You can barely see it, but there's some, pretty cool sketches in there. Just me kind of playing around. And at that time, I was getting a couple little jobs here and there doing some illustration. Here's another very thin blue line sketch of, some work that I was doing. But yeah, I was getting some jobs, here and there. I actually worked for this Renovating Woman magazine. And in that job, I drew like little sketches here and there. And this is kind of like the sidetrack, this is kind of like some of the people that I met throughout work, and I kind of depicted them as characters. So there was like a little character that I liked there. There was kind of like vampire hunters, but yeah, so I was picking up little jobs here and there, little character design, drawing the ladies, a lot better than before. Some sketches, like teams of people, girls and whatnot. So I was getting better with the ladies, so to speak. So, there were days when I couldn't really draw that much, you see stuff like that, that don't look all that great, has potential, but, needs a little bit more work, so working on little designs, graphic design. I think at that time I was kind of trying to figure out like a website, now it's like mid 2000, where, everybody was using Flash and, Flash websites, everything was animated. There was a whole bunch of clicks and whistles and everything going on, so yeah, man, still drawing, got a whole bunch of ideas, and here's another design where I was kind of getting to where most of my artwork was you know, kind of panning out to, you know, the thin line work and the thick line work. And I think from there, that's where I kind of like developed like my own particular kind of style. So I took this and I just build upon that and just kind of created my own style based off of this fledgling kind of work here. So going from there, you know, I worked on, let's see, some other characters as well. You know, just like some mini little characters, you know, it never came out to anything, you know. And at this time, after the 10 years, you know, or maybe close to 15, you know, I start getting into some, I guess, motion graphics, you know, like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of them, but, you know, MK12, for example, MK12, like G-Monk, you know, just to name just those couple. There's others out there, you know, running into like a guy that we did some freelance for, me and my friend Carnes Jackson. We did some freelance for Double Raven and Image Quest Films, and, you know, another company called Imagine Advertising. You know, I could tell you some stories about that, but anyway, that's for Patreon or whatever. So, you know, doing that freelance career. So, you know, I won't bore you with that. And this artwork here, that's just mainly like, you know, I like Japanime, you know, characters and stuff, and that's me kind of like mimicking that look. So, I had like some old anime books, and, you know, I was just kind of mimicking that style. So, you know, but yeah, this was like towards the end of, you know, the 2000, well, mid 2000 to 2010, maybe 15, something like that, you know, and from there, here's, you know, a couple of things that I start doing for Renovating Woman magazine. And, you know, as you can see, like, my line work got a lot better. You know, it's still a little shaky, but, you know, you can tell, like, I start using like the thin and the thick lines, and this is kind of like an example of some of the caricatures, you know, I would make, you know, of people. You know, if you can see that, you can probably see that a little bit better. So, you know, refining it a little bit, you know, stuff like that. And basically, I don't know if I still have it in here. I did like a sketch of these three ladies that were, let's see, yeah, another design, you know, female working, you know, fixing the up under the sink or whatever, you know, kind of showing the butt crack, you know, so you can kind of see the style popping up through that. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. And this is kind of like the fledgling style. I wish I had used like kind of like a thicker line work, you know, around each of the characters. But at that time, I was like using the color, and I was going and coloring things, and, you know, the color would make the ladies stand out, and then the other color that I used for the background just kind of subdued it a little bit, you know. So, but yeah, you know, I think everything turned out great on that. Even the little laptop computer, the paint and all that stuff. I think these ladies owned a Ace Hardware, you know. Each one of them had their own store. So yeah, I was getting a little work here and there, and I was proud of it. So from there, when I start getting into a little bit of animation, you know, I'm sure my friend Robert Warbuck, I think he remembers that character. He loved that one. You know, back when we had badges to get in and all that stuff, you know, I made like, I guess this was kind of like my caricature style, you know, that I began to adapt over time, you know, and create, you know, me and my friend Carnes and Nathan and I forgot the other guy, but I know he's gonna be mad at me. I'll come up with it in a second or whatever, or I'm pretty sure Nathan will probably be in the chat. He's like, man, you forgot, you know, do the name. But anyway, but yeah, me and these guys, you know, I love everybody to death. You know, these guys are great. We work together as a team, and we had our own little company where, you know, we created like motion graphics, and, you know, music, and, you know, well, not really music, but it's mostly motion graphics and graphic design and, you know, websites and stuff like that. So I did like caricatures of all those dudes. And at the time I had like braids. Can you believe it? This bald head having braids in it. But yeah, you know, working with Flash, you know, I did like these little Flash animated little characters, you know, little animation, you know, stuff like that. I know you can't see all of them, kind of flipping through fast to kind of keep the video moving and grooving along, you know, because, you know, that was kind of like my little style back then, you know, just drawing little caricatures and whatnot, and animating them in Flash, you know. So I don't know where the Flash video is. It's probably like on some backup somewhere, backup of a backup, you know, a little ninja, whatever. So, but I did like a little animation where everybody was coming in and fighting me, kind of like Dragon Ball Z when, you know, Goku was fighting off all these characters or whatever. So yeah, you know, and now we're getting into, you know, I guess the part where the ending of that job, and, you know, I kind of developed my own kind of style. You know, this is kind of like me back in that time. I don't know if you guys remember those phones. I'll do a little close up there. Remember those old phones right there? I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. Yep, the old phones, man. You know, my little book bag, my braids, everything. So, you know, I developed like a little style going forward. There's too much baldness up there. But, yeah, you know, working on my characters. And, you know, I'm just gonna go through real quick. My friend Jamaica drew characters of pretty much almost everybody. Another friend of mine, Jezza, you know, from work, you know. I did character designs of just about everybody I saw, you know, just working on my, you know, I guess my technique and working on my poses and stuff like that, you know. I always kept on drawing, even though I wasn't doing a whole bunch of artistic projects or whatever. I just kept on drawing, you know. So, and later on, you know, I was able to get more jobs, you know, doing some caricatures and doing some artwork and stuff like that. So, you know, and then, you know, once I started getting into, I guess, my, you know, motion graphics, and, you know, because I was already doing like websites and, you know, junk of that nature, websites and whatever, you know, got into doing motion graphics and got good at that, and, you know, start animating a lot of the stuff that I was drawing, you know. Well, I guess that's kind of not really nude, but, you know, it's kind of like she have clothes on. But anyway, as I digress, so, you know, I was drawing, I was moving and grooving, you know, just building up a collection of stuff. One day I'll do something with it, you know, maybe I can, I don't know, turn some of this into, you know, some, I don't know, stock art or something like that. That's what I need to do. Around just redraw this in Illustrator and make it into stock art, maybe. So, and from there, you know, I kind of developed my own little style, you know, and I don't know if you guys seen any of these here, but it's like some pretty recent sketches I was doing with a friend of mine named Elliot. And at that time, you know, I ran into another graphic designer. His name was Stephen Butler, and another guy named Ron Stevens, and both talented, artists. Well, not really artists like drawing artists, but more or less like graphic design work. And I developed my graphic design, more and more working, with those guys. And in between that job, before I got that job, I was working at another place where I met another comic book artist. His name was John Edith. And I'm sure I'm butchering your name, John, your last name. But this guy, phenomenal comic book artist, phenomenal artist, period. This guy, when I saw his artwork, I was like, mind blown again. First time it was my friend Evan Matthews, and then the other time it was my friend John. When I saw his artwork, I was like, bam. I was like, oh my gosh, man. I'm like, dude, you should be, but things don't always work out. It's like some people, get the chance to work for a big company, like a Marvel or DC or Image or whatever, and then there's a lot of artists that don't. Some artists do graphic design or to pay the bills, or some other work or whatever. But he's another multi-talented. John is another multi-talented individual. And he's doing quite good for himself right now. So yeah, these are just some general sketches of what I kind of do now. A little bit of caricatures, a little bit of realistic type. You can definitely see the line work has gotten a lot better. So up until now, I started working in Illustrator. I went digital. I still love physical art, but digital really kind of like got me motivated. I love Illustrator now, and I like drawing in Illustrator and creating my characters and that. Of course I'll still sketch them out, but doing the color and anything else, I like going back in Illustrator. I mean, yeah, it's time consuming, but in the end, I think it's worth it. So, and this is just me just working on different panels. My friend Elliot's like, man, we need to finish this thing. You did all this work on it, we need to finish it. So, we will, and now I got plenty of time because of, things that happen. So, we won't get all into that, but, I'm sure my friends I used to work with, they can get the humor in that. But anyway, but yeah, I did storyboards and, junk like that. So, this is where I am today. I am trying to make this entrepreneur, thing happen and continue my drawing, continuing to try to, make a living off of it. I mean, it's hard, but when I was working, I didn't really, and I know this is it's a long video, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm not really rambling. I'm towards the end. So this is towards the end. So, over time, when you're working at a job, you can't really focus on your YouTube and all that stuff. It's kind of hard, and especially if you have other, things, like family and all that stuff. When you're single, you can do it, but when you're not single, it's kind of hard, So at this time, I couldn't keep up with my YouTube, so my YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff was lacking. But now, since I have a lot more time, I have more time to kind of focus on my YouTube and Instagram and, stuff like that, So I'm just going to keep trucking with this stuff. I was about to show you this, but it's kind of still top secret. So I'm going to bust that out after the Froggy show. I'm going to still keep this under wraps right here. This stuff, not this, but, something I was about to show you. But anyway, I'm going to keep that under wraps for right now. It's another little surprise for you guys, coming soon. So, but anyway, thank you guys for coming on this journey with me. I'm still, I'm building everything as we go. And I hope you guys stick with me, and see my progress. I mean, not everybody, comes out famous right out of college. You know what I'm saying? There are some, awesome guys that go straight into work, and then there's other people like me, or like you that, hey, finished college, but, it just didn't happen. You maybe changed majors, you maybe changed jobs, it probably wasn't looking like, what you intended it to be, or it wasn't turning out what you intended it to be. So you have to kind of change focus a little bit. And that's what I did. I went into the graphic design and motion graphics, and, and all that stuff combined helped mold and shape me to where now I can do a little bit of everything. I can draw, I can animate, I can build a website, I can, do some motion graphic, I can create, graphic design work, whatever. I have all the tools, the 20 some odd years of knowledge within me. So I'm just going to use that to see if, I can make something come of it and be successful. And, maybe I'll be one of those great YouTubers that, can, I guess, live off of their, YouTube money or Patreon or whatever. I'm getting it all set up. Hey, I would love support. But, at this time it's fledgling, so I'm getting it all together. So, I'll let you know when I get all those little things in place and stuff. And, hey, would love to support. But, if not, then cool. Just enjoy the show. Just enjoy the artwork, the process. This process ain't easy. It's almost like giving birth. Every time you draw, it's kind of like giving birth to something, and it's your pride and joy, and you always want to make sure that you do your best with your pride and joy, and sometimes it's hard to give up, somebody like, hey, you got to hand it over now, thank goodness there's digital, where, you can kind of give a copy of, but when you have to give the original over, like a painting or something like that, it kind of hurts a little bit, like, oh, my baby. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. I appreciate all my subscribers. I appreciate all the responses. I'm getting a lot of nice responses and great responses, and yeah, thank you for that. For chiming in and talking with me or chatting with me, I guess, online. And hey, wherever I can help, I help. That's where I want this to kind of be. I want this to kind of be like a community for all artists to kind of get together and talk about stuff. If you got problems or issues, or I was, for a long time, okay, this will be the last part. For a long time, I was trying to figure out, like, how do you balance life and art? What time do you work? That was like my biggest challenge, because the only time I could work was at night, because I had like a regular day job, and it was hard, man. You gotta have to find the time, and then you also have to get your rest or whatever. And those are the two main important things, getting your rest, and then also trying to find the time to draw, and sometimes it butts heads, and you can't do both, but hey, don't give up on your dream. Still go for it. You have to be driven. If you're not driven, it ain't gonna happen, man. You gotta be driven. You gotta be doing it every day. It gotta be your lifeblood, man. You gotta eat, sleep this stuff every day. If you don't, you might just be mediocre on the side, just doing some little whatever, and your dreams may not happen. But if you stay on it and keep at it, it'll happen for you, It just depends on how hard you work. If you work hard at it, eat, sleep, dream it, whatever, walk it, talk it, then boom, it'll happen. But if not, then yeah, it probably not gonna, your dream may not come true. So, but hey, you got to be diligent. The early bird catches the worm, so to speak. So, hey, this is the end. Finally, I'm gonna stop talking. You guys have a great New Year's. Have a great day. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Catch the interview with my good friend Jet. Well, I I guess I can call him my friend. We've been talking back for, well, you catch me and Jeff on Wednesday, and I guess I don't know if I'm gonna I don't know. I'm thinking, should I put the little sped up thing on it? Nah, I'll just leave it out. I still got to work on it anyway. So, why look at a short little whatever, Give me till Wednesday. I'll work on it Wednesday while I'm talking, and chatting, with Jeff. So, hey, I'll talk to you guys later. I also got another announcement, but I'm gonna work on that a little bit more. You may see some signs of it, but yeah, I should have another announcement coming a little later. So, all right, guys, peace out. Enjoy your New Year's. Set your goals. Go out there and and be driven. Drive yourself. If you want to achieve something, for all those who's like, should I start a YouTube channel? Man, no shoulda, coulda, would. Start a YouTube channel, man. Just start talking about something. It'll eventually fall in together, because, with YouTube, you got to offer some kind of service or something, something that people might want to know about. And hopefully I'm giving that to you in a way, where I'm kind of helping. And you also seeing my process, where I get stuck from time to time. I'm kind of not really stuck. I'm just still figuring out, how to get to the end. And so, you can see my process or whatever. So, and how I kind of figure it out. I use reference material and I just kind of sketch it until it looks right, So, so yeah. And I also got like a kind of sketch. But anyway, finally, silence. Peace out. Catch you later.